Alright, good day everyone. So today we're going to show you how we do our toy photography here at the Hobbyist. So I have a bunch of scenes here from the Netflix anime series Godzilla Singular Point. So here we have Godzilla Ultima first appearing on the series. And then here we have Godzilla Ultima firing its atomic breath. So as you can see here, the signature rings of its atomic breath are visible, and how it's basically separated from the main atomic breath of Godzilla Ultima. And then here we'll see the effects of that atomic breath. So as you can see here, when it hits a building, it literally slashes the building in half, and that's because it's actually melting the building. So as you can see, some of that melted material are colored yellow, orange. And then on the next scene, we see what happens to a building once the atomic breath pierces through it. So as you can see, there's like a burst of molten rock going on. And then finally, on the next scene, we see the carnage that happens to the city. So basically, you see a lot of fire going on, some yellows, some oranges, some reds. And so this is what happens after Godzilla laid waste on Tokyo. So what we're gonna do, the challenge here is we want to incorporate all of those scenes into one photograph. So stick around and we'll show you how. Okay, so first we're gonna show you the stuff that we're gonna use to make this diorama. So first you're gonna need a camera. So you could always use like a DSLR or a mobile phone to do this. So in my case, I'm using my trusty old Samsung S21 Ultra. You can always use other mobile phones as well. The only important thing for this photograph is it has to have live view, so you should be able to see what your camera sees before you take the photograph and while you're arranging the diorama. Also, you're gonna need your figure. So here we're gonna use our custom Godzilla Ultima, and then you're also gonna need some acrylic paint, some paint brushes, some fiber fill. So we have different colors of fiber fill that we've used throughout the years. So we have the red color here. We also have some gray, some black, some white, and some other colors like orange, yellow, and whatnot. So it's nice if you have lots of these, because it's really gonna be useful to a lot of effects that you're gonna use, especially when you're dealing with Godzilla photography per se. And then here we also have some rubble. So my rubble are basically used up runners from Gundam figures and whatnot. So basically what I do is I just cut them up into small pieces. I bend them here and there, and it makes for a cool effect when you're working on a city diorama. And then I have a couple of buildings. I will make a video on this, on how to make them, but basically through the years, for when you make a lot of these photography, you are gonna have a collection of your own buildings. And then some tanks for the scene. This one I've bought online for probably $1 each or $2, I'm not sure, but yeah, so they're cheap. Find one that's as small as possible, or something that scales well with a 6-inch figure, so that it would look nice on frame. And then we also did some effects. So this one is made from a Coke bottle that we've painted with mica powder and whatnot to make those rings. And then we're also gonna need some fishing line. some bendy wire, and some glue sticks, glue gun. So that's it. That's the materials that we're gonna need. Oh, and yes, of course, before I forget, you're also gonna need some felt cloth. So this material is really useful, because the thing is with felt, if you're gonna put some fiber fill and you're gonna put it on the background, it sticks on the felt. See? So that way you don't have to paint it. You can just stick it on the wall. You can just put it there and it's gonna stay in place. So that's gonna be very useful when we're doing the background later on. Okay, so that's all we need basically, and we're gonna show you how to build our diorama. Okay, so now to execute this shot, is what you need to do is you have to frame your subject first. So in our case, our subject is Godzilla. So basically it's like we're drawing on a blank canvas. So think of your phone as the blank canvas, and you're gonna pose Godzilla here. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna fill out the rest of this area with details. So we could put some tanks, we're gonna put some buildings, and it's gonna look good because it's already framed on our phone. So now let's say we want to put a tank in front. So what we're gonna do is, just put it there and say that it's already destroyed, and then put another tank maybe here. Looks like that. And then put some buildings here and there. So from here you could already see what the space is gonna look like as you fill it with details. See, so it's gonna be there, and then let's say one we're gonna put here. So that's basically how you fill it out with details. And then after you've filled the space with details, you're gonna see the parts wherein it looks unnatural. So on that end, you're probably gonna put some rubble here. You're probably gonna put some smoke on top. So until you fill out the whole scene with the details that you want. So it's basically like drawing using the live view that you have on your screen. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. And from there, you're also gonna be able to plan your shot. So what things that you have, what things do you have to build, what things that you could reuse. So the idea here is we're gonna reuse most of this so that on our next shoot we could still reuse the buildings and whatnot. So now I know that we have the buildings that we have the buildings that we need, we have the tanks to fill out the whole space, and we probably have the rubble to cover up much of the space that the camera shows. But the thing that we need is the breath effect. So from our stills, remember, we're trying to show you a bunch of those pictures with Godzilla firing its breath effect. So we're gonna plan how that pans out on this picture. Okay, so here we've already framed much of the props that we're gonna use for the photograph. So here we already placed the tanks, we've already placed the buildings, and what we're trying to achieve here is we're trying to make the picture appear like Godzilla fired its atomic breath from the tanks, and then it swept over these buildings over here, and then it's gonna hit that building over there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a breath effect. So that's why it's important for you to frame all of these details before you do more of the props that you're gonna need, so that you would know how long it needs to be and how high it's gonna appear on the film, on the picture. So here we're gonna make a breath effect that's relatively long, and since Godzilla has some rings on its breath effect, so we're gonna show that also. So we're gonna use this, and it's supposed to line up right around here. So we're gonna put it somewhere there. And then we're gonna use a Tamashi stand to line this up perfectly on Godzilla's mouth. And then we're gonna put the breath effect basically piercing through that hole over there all the way to that building over there. So now we're gonna show you how we're gonna make a breath effect. Okay, so here what we're doing is we're basically building the breath effect. So using our bendy wire, we're gonna fill it up with hot glue. So just remember, when you're doing this, for each layer you let it dry first before you add another layer. And then here what we're doing is we're mixing some acrylic emulsion with some mica powder. This is basically what we're gonna use to color up our breath effect. You could also use some acrylic paint and some Mod Podge if you have one. If you don't have mica powder and acrylic emulsion, we just find that this combination of acrylic emulsion and mica powder makes for a more translucent breath effect, which is consistent with what you see on the series. So here what we're doing is we're adding some details on the building. So we're adding some of that molten or lava like details on the building, similar to what we saw on the pictures earlier. And we're using the phone to place all of these details. So we're referring to the phone each time that we're putting on some rubble, some of those fiber fill, and all of those details that we're framing on this photo. So yeah, so we're gonna continue doing this until we fill up much of that space, much of that blank space that I showed earlier. And so it's really critical that you always refer to that live view, just like this. So this is what we're seeing on the camera. Okay, so now what we're doing is we basically installed the breath effect already, the one that we've colored earlier. And then we're adding in some more details on the back and on the background as well. So now we're filling in most of the background, and here we're just using some thin layers of fiber fill, some colored fiber fill, but using some thin layers so that it blends on the background better. Okay, so now we're done with our diorama. So it doesn't look much. It looks all over the place. It looks unfinished, basically, from here. But when you look at the camera, since this is our reference on what we put on the frame, it actually looks really good. So now what we're gonna do is we can actually take a photo of it right now. But I'm gonna take it a bit further. So I have here a black light that I can use to highlight the dorsal spines of Godzilla. As you can see, if I put it there, it's gonna turn violet. So I'm gonna change the lighting, and using Pro Mode, I can actually make that turn blue. So also we're gonna do long exposure photography, so that to paint that color basically on the tail and on the spines. And we're gonna use this light right here to shine some light on that area where Godzilla's breath effect hits that building. Okay, so before we do that, since we're gonna do long exposure photography, you have to make sure that while the lights are on, using your Pro Mode on your camera or in camera phone or on your DSLR, you wanna make sure that you're already on focus. So you have to focus. You do manual focus or autofocus, whatever you want. You have to make sure that you have to make sure that it's already on the correct focus before you take the picture. So we want Godzilla to be the main subject. So there you have it. So let's try this picture right here. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna turn off the lights and we're gonna try to take a picture of Godzilla. Okay, so now most of the lights are already turned off. So what we're gonna do now is we are basically going to, again, we're gonna shine some blue light on Godzilla's dorsal plates like that, and then we are going to turn on this light for a few seconds just to show that part where the building gets hit by the atomic breath. Okay, so before we take a photo, make sure that your camera has a remote way to take a picture. So for camera phones, there are actually ways for you to do this. You could connect your headset on your phone, or you could actually enable voice shutter, so that if you say cheese, for example, it's gonna take a picture just like that. You don't want to press the button manually, because if you press the button manually, it's gonna, since you're taking a long exposure, chances are your picture is gonna be blurred. So okay, so now let's do this. So again, practice. So what we're gonna do is okay, so we're gonna take a photo of Godzilla with the dorsal plates. Okay, let's try this. Cheese. And let's see what it looks like. So there is our photo of Godzilla beating the shit out of Tokyo. I like that photo actually. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this to Adobe Lightroom for editing. Okay, so now we have our photo, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do some editing using Adobe Lightroom. So to do that, we're gonna head on over to Lightroom, and we are going to import the photo. So we're gonna look for it. So it's this one, and then add, and once we've had it imported, so this is our photo. And basically, if you can see here, a lot of the colors are a bit washed, especially the ones that are orange and red. So we want to fix that. And what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna play around with some of the settings, like the saturation, the vibrance, and the color temperature. And then some of the details are a bit bland also, so we're probably gonna apply some dehaze, some, you see, if you dehaze it, it's gonna show much of those colors already, and some clarity as well. So what I did was, before this, I already pre-edited this picture, and I made a preset, and just to show you what it looks like after I've applied my preset. So there you have it. So now the colors are more vibrant. You see this part is more highlighted, and yeah, overall it's a better picture. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give you guys a copy of that preset. So I'll show you the settings on the video description, so that if you want to use it for your editing, at least like a baseline on what you want to do when you're editing using Lightroom. Again, I'm gonna put it on the description on this video description for your use. Okay, so once we've done that, so yeah, so this is now our final picture. So guys, I hope you've learned something from us today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.